there's a reason why the far majority of people go towards one way of life. Saying you want to become, you know, the next motivational speaker, you want to become Tony Robbins, or you want to become next Usain Bolt, you're training 1 day a week. It's not gonna happen. Everyone else doesn't see the vision that you have, but as long as you see the vision and you dedicate yourself towards the vision every day, you're gonna win.
Guys, welcome to Personal Transformation TV. So in this segment of the channel, I've actually had the idea of interviewing various sports professionals because I feel their story needs to be heard. This guy is on fire when it comes to value bombs. So without further ado, I kind of like just to introduce my man, Reiss Hinds. Welcome, bro.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So to start off with, why don't you just tell the people over here what was your sport?
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Reiss, Reiss Hinds. I was a gymnast for 16 years, trained 4 to 5 times a week in Harrow in northwest London, represented the GB nationally, was part of the junior national team. I would compete several times a year, and kind of gymnastics and everything kind of high intensity sport was my thing. So that was
interesting. Me. Okay, so what got you into the whole gymnastics field?
I was a really overactive kid, I would say. Like I would genuinely actually bounce off the walls, and I would climb on walls and up walls, and if you had like a shelf or any form of system that I could climb on, I would be that guy, and usually I would fall.
Wow.
And my parents weren't very happy about it, so they thought of any way of zapping my energy. That was gymnastics.
Okay, so. Wow. Okay, so would you say was that more of a natural intuition to just climb stuff, or was it kind of you just did that for fun, or what was the main purpose of you climbing stuff?
I think it was just like the need or the want to conquer things. I kind of saw like a physical obstacle that I wanted to see if it was too high for me.
Okay.
And that was kind of why I climbed things. I don't think it was really like a conscious thought. It was kind of like, oh, that shelf is really big, will I fall? Basically, was what the situation was.
Interesting. Okay. So when was the first ever time you've actually started to get into competitive gymnastics? Like, how old were you?
I started when I was 4.5 years old, and I think my first competition was when I was 5. When I was 5 years old. 5 years old, yeah. And it was a club competition, so it was in like a internal competition. But yeah, 5 years old.
Okay, so interesting. Okay, and how did you get scouted into getting into the GB team?
It was very weird. It was kind of a situation where with most things in my life, as we'll get onto later, it was like me not understanding that there are proper rules of how to be found by people, and there are proper ways that a lot of people train really, really hard for years to become a certain type of thing, and I just kind of, I don't want to say the words got lucky, but I kind of had the ability to skip a few steps and kind of put myself in the best position to succeed. So in my first regional competition, I finished top 3 or top 5.
Wow.
And then that qualified me to then go to Newcastle and represent London. And then from there, I think our team finished bronze. London finished bronze in the national competition, and from there I was given the opportunity to be part of the junior national squad. But honestly, like, I didn't know what the junior national squad was. I didn't know what Team GB was. Really? I just knew like I just knew that where I was and the Olympics and anything in between, I didn't understand any of that. So
wow. Okay. And how old were you when you were given that chance to when you got scouted for the Team GB?
I think I was between the ages of 7 and 10 years old, because my first regional competition was at the age of 7, but I do remember being in the national squad at around 10 years old.
Okay.
That's kind of the time frame.
So what was the end goal for your sporting career?
The main reason I actually got into gymnastics was because I saw a guy called Kenny Kai Jackson, who is actually an alumni from my gymnastics club, and he ended up going to the Commonwealth, and now he works in Cirque du Soleil, and he's a bodybuilder, and he does a few things. But I saw him on TV, and there aren't many like Caribbean gymnasts around. So I saw him on TV, and I was like, oh, he's from the area that I'm from. He goes to the club that I go to. Like, he was the aspirational figure. Like, don't get me wrong, there are thousands of other gymnasts that people can aspire to, but he was the one that, you know, you buy from people you know, you like, and you trust, and that was kind of the people that I connected and resonated with. So interesting. And from there, I was like, okay, cool. Well, if he can do it, well, I can do it. I look the same as him. I just need to learn the skill. Like, that was the only way I really thought about it. And my end goal was really just to get where he was. So he went to the Commonwealth, so I wanted to get to the Commonwealth before I finished my gymnastics career, and that was kind of it. I was just working towards that.
Wow. And this all, you had this all before you were 10 years old?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Explains a lot, right?
Oh, it explains a lot. So, what can you tell the people watching, you know, what happened, what made you retire? Yeah,
sure. So as I said, I trained 4 times a week. I would train, well, mainly 4 times, occasionally 5, but I would train Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday and Sunday, and then when I wasn't being lazy, I would also come in on a Friday. And yeah, I used to just try to get to the higher level skills, because if you have, basically how gymnastics routines work is, if you have higher level skills, you can score higher. So effectively, if you can do like the crucifix, or you can do like a double back, or you can do like a higher level of twisting, so like a triple twist instead of like a double twist, your starting score is higher. So then even if you get deducted by the judges, because you're starting at a higher point, you could still get deducted more but have a higher score than someone who got deducted less. Okay. If that made sense.
Yeah.
So because of that, I was always trying to push myself. My coach was trying to push me to get higher level skills, and I learned the crucifix at like 12 years old or something. It was a ridiculous, like looking back, it was a ridiculous age that I learned it. And even before like I officially learned it, I was trying to learn it for years prior to that. But my muscles had developed a lot faster than someone of my age because of how intensely I was training. But it kind of got to a point where I was competing this move, like the crucifix, the cross, on the rings, but my body wasn't really ready for me to do that, and it began to strain. So then I developed tendon damage in both my shoulders, and I competed for a year with the tendon damage. I didn't know it was tendon damage at the time.
Okay, yeah.
I just thought like my shoulders hurt every time I compete, but that's normal because you have adrenaline and you go up above and beyond when you're competing. So I was like, cool. And then finally, like one day, like I just remember finishing from a competition, and I was like, my shoulders like ache, like I could move them, but every action hurt. So from there, I went to a doctor, and then the first doctor was like, "No, you're fine, don't worry." And I was like, "No, I'm not fine." So then after that, between the ages of 12 and 14, I went through a process of basically going through every doctor and getting X-rays and stuff, and eventually they told me that you have tendon damage and you need to like quit doing gymnastics for like 6 months. And I went through 2 years of physio, and then from that point is where I kind of like officially was like, yeah, I'm not doing this again. I'm done. So I still, from 14 to 18 when I left for uni, I still competed. Sorry, I still trained and did a kind of a regional competition every now and then, but it was never really, the flame had kind of gone, because I kind of knew that like I burnt myself out before my time.
Okay. Wow, that's
Yeah.
I felt that one. So bro, how did that make you feel, knowing that you couldn't compete in the sports that you love?
It was like a bittersweet kind of situation, if I'm honest, because by the end of my time being a gymnast, I kind of hated it, because you're not allowed to be normal, as you know, like being a high performance athlete yourself. You're not allowed to do things that other people are allowed to do. So when you're 14, you're like in high school, and like there are girls, there are parties, there are like birthdays. I didn't do any of that. If your birthday party was on Saturday or Sunday, unless it was like either Sunday morning and like my coach let me come in an hour later, or Sunday after training, I wasn't allowed to go.
Wow.
Saturday evening I could go, but I have to leave early. Friday was cool because I was usually lazy and I didn't bother turning up to Friday's training. And if it was on Tuesday or Wednesday or midweek, like, I can go. So most of the time I missed out on so many things that like I began to resent the talent I had.
Okay.
And looking back, like, I tried to find every possible way of like skipping a session or missing a week, because it got to also the point where I became very cocky, because whereas my teammates would have to work really hard to learn a certain skill, I knew how much effort I needed to put in to learn the same skill, and I would do it in half the time.
Wow.
So because of that, I would skip a month, or I would go on holiday, skip a month, come back, give me 2 weeks, and I'd be back to where I was. Whereas most people take like 3 months to get back to where they needed to be after time training. So it was bittersweet. I felt like I lost my identity when I stopped doing high performance training, because everyone knew me as a gymnast.
Yeah.
But I was also really happy that maybe I could have a life.
Interesting. Okay. So you touched a little bit about the identity crisis bit. How did you manage to maybe get over that, is the right phrase? Does that make sense?
It was very interesting. You never really believe that you associate yourself towards something until it's taken away from you. You know?
Absolutely.
So, me being a sportsman and me being a gymnast, I always knew that eventually, well, your gymnasts, they only really have a lifespan of like 30 years, realistically. And even that's very lucky if you can get to 30. So I kind of knew that I was eventually going to have to evolve into something beyond being a sportsman. However, I didn't think it was going to be that quickly at 14. And I remember being in an art class, and I was just moody and a bit chubby, because I was still eating like I was eating when I was a gymnast. Because by the way, I have no leverage of what a diet is, even to this day. Just want to clarify that. But gymnasts don't have any, because we burn so much on a weekly basis. We eat whatever we want. Like, I genuinely, and my friends like, oh yeah, I dieted and I went on this 10-day scheme. Fantastic. I have never done that in my life. I plan to never do that ever. So sorry. But because of that, I was like to my art teacher, like, I don't have a purpose, like I don't have anything to do. And he was like, go and draw. And I was like, does Picasso look like me? I have never seen an artist that looks like me. Do some research, kids. There are many artists that look like me, actually. I just didn't know. Ignorance is bliss. But because of that, I was like, I can't draw. He's like, okay, why don't you try? And after being frustrated, it was like New Year's Eve, or like within that Christmas time period, and I just drew a dragon. Spent like an hour and a half, and it was like my limiting belief had like broken, because this dragon was good. Like I was like, oh, I can draw. And it was random, like I drew the dragon like off the top of my head, there was no reference. Like,
wow,
just,
okay.
And then from there, like, I took it back to my art teacher in January, and I was like, I can draw now. He was like, I knew you could draw, like, do more. And I just kind of, how I used to train 4 times a week, I dedicated that to art.
Wow.
And I would just draw and give myself new obstacles, new tasks, and once I could draw one thing, cool, let's do another thing. And then from there, I shifted from being the sportsman to then becoming a graphic artist and being a graphic designer.
A graphic designer, wow. Okay. Can you tell us more about that whole graphic designing journey of yours?
Yeah. So my initial goal after knowing that I can no longer compete was that I was going to start like a web design company or business or work for someone, effectively. So my idea was to go and do GCSE graphic design, and then in A level or at some point learn web design and like start like a side business, basically.
Okay.
And then from there, I kind of realized I was good at graphic design, I was good at branding, I was good at making logos, I was very responsive, I didn't take time. Like a lot of graphic designers like to think about like how beautiful it looks and like making sure that the color scheme, like I don't care. Like I more care about what the client needs, the wants and needs of that client, and getting it to them as quickly as possible and getting it to 80% as good as it needs to be, and then we can go back and forth over a shorter time period to get it to that 100%.
Wow.
Instead of getting it to like 100% on the first go and then refining, you know. But yeah, I did GCSE graphic design and got an A star, and it was the first time I kind of felt fulfilled again. Yeah, I know it's mad. I didn't think I was gonna get either. My only A star, guys. My only A star. Let me have that. And then from then, yeah, I did A-level graphic design, and then I went to uni, did graphic design there, graduated with a 2-1 this year, and yeah, and now I work for a design agency. So we did it, Mum.
Wow,
did it.
that's an amazing journey. Imagine, and it just stemmed from drawing a dragon.
Yeah.
Drawing a dragon. How amazing is that? Now, can you tell the lovely people over here, what's kind of like in the works at the moment? What's your plans, and what do you see yourself doing the next couple of years?
Well, recently while I was at uni in my first year, I came across a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it completely shifted my whole kind of mentality towards kind of personal development and investing in yourself. And he basically speaks about a guy who has 2 dads. He has one actual dad, and he has his best friend's father. And you can Google what the book's really about, but effectively, because I could do a whole half an hour on this, but effectively the book speaks about the fact that you need to have multiple streams of income, and you need to have assets and liabilities, and you need to basically learn from proven mentors. So for the last 3 years, and it's how I met this man, I've been going to events, I've been networking with people, and for the last 7 years I've run a clothing company, and in the last 4 months I started a social media consultancy company where I actually run paid ads for companies, I grow followers, I connect brands with influencers, and that's kind of been my passion for the last, I would say, 2 years, but I've really kind of manifested that in the last 4 months.
Wow, amazing. And so in that journey so far, as would it be safe to say that you would label yourself as then an entrepreneur?
I don't consider myself an entrepreneur anymore. That's another story. But yeah, I would say because I have a job, so I don't really consider myself an entrepreneur because entrepreneurs don't have jobs. But I'm a business owner. I'm someone who has a part-time job and also runs a business, and I, in a 18 to 24 month window, hope to have my entrepreneur title back.
Amazing. Okay, bro. And what has been the most rewarding factor so far in your journey to a life after sports?
I would probably say everyone assumes that you have to be one thing. Everyone assumes that you have to be like a swimmer, everyone assumes you have to be a gymnast, everyone assumes you have to be a photographer or a designer, and I just don't enjoy titles and boxes, because in the roadmap to my life I plan to be at least 10 things. Like I don't want to stay in one industry, I don't want to stay in one niche. And if you listen to the far majority of people are going to tell you that you need to stay in one thing. You need to work a 9 to 5, you need to save money, and then at 65 you can start living your life, and then you're going to die. But if you do that, I don't understand the point in that. Because the far majority of... I'll give you a little fact. If you earn over £100,000, you are in the top 5% of earners in the UK. And if you earn over $100,000, you are in the top 6% of earners in the US. And it's crazy that in London alone we have 12 million people. That's a higher population than some small countries of immigrants that come and live in London. And if not even a few million people can earn over 100k, then there's a reason why the far majority of people go towards one way of life. You know, you go to school, you get qualified, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, rinse and repeat. You teach them what you got taught. But then there are other people who go the other way, and they're looked at like they're crazy, and they go and create their own businesses, they go and have a vision, they go and maybe they're broke for 12 years, yeah, but they end up being the people that then employ all of their friends and their relatives and all the people that said they were crazy. So I would say, if I learned anything in this whole 16-year journey of being a gymnast and now being a business owner, is it's okay to be crazy, it's okay to be fearless, and it's okay to fail. Enjoy your failure and be okay with being at this point in your life where everyone else doesn't see the vision that you have, but as long as you see the vision and you dedicate yourself towards the vision every day, you're gonna win. Because most people's New Year's resolutions end in March. It's true, it's a proven fact, Google it. And most people's New Year's resolutions start in January, gonna get a gym membership, yeah, I'm pumped, woo! By March it's done. So if you can get to November, if you can get to December, if you can get to year 1 of you doing your resolution, you get to year 2, year 3, people are gonna drop off every month. They're gonna drop off. But in 12 years or 10 years or 7 years, you're gonna be the only one left. And then when the market comes to you, you won. That's it.
Beautiful. And on to leave on the final question. What's the biggest takeaways or lessons that you took from your sport and has served you so well in your current journey so far?
What I would say is work ethic. Like, I can't tell you to be prettier. I can't tell you. I'm 5'1". No one can tell me to go become 6 foot. Like, I could pay all the money in the world. I can't become 6 foot. I can't become Filipino. Like, I can't. Like, there's so many things that would be fantastic. I can't do those things. But what I can tell you to do is, I work 7 days a week. So, I can't be upset by the results that I'm getting because there's literally no more time for me to put in. I sleep for between 7 and 8 hours a day, but I work every single day. There's not a day that I'm not working. So, if you have a goal, you have a dream, you have an ambition, figure out how much time you can dedicate towards that thing, and then double and triple down on that. Because you can only be upset when you've put your all in. If you put your all in, you can't be upset with your results. Regardless of whether you got one more customer a month, or whether you sold one more book, or maybe you got one more internship. But if you're saying you want to become, the next motivational speaker, you want to become Tony Robbins, or you want to become next Usain Bolt, and you're training 1 day a week, it's not gonna happen.
Amazing. Reiss, I'd just like to say it's a pleasure on having you in the show, and seriously, it's a pleasure just hearing this again. Makes me want to go out and work now again. So thank you so much, brother. Where can they reach out to you in social media?
You can follow me on Instagram at Reiss Hinds, REISSHINDS, and I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Reiss Hinds. And that's it. I'd love to hear from you. I respond to everyone, so.
He actually does.
Yeah.
And on that note, if you guys missed that on where to connect with him, I'm gonna leave it in the link below, as well as I like to just say keep an eye out for this guy. And seriously, this is just a snippet of what he has done already. So if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to him, follow him, and just have free value bombs every single day. Okay, every single day. So guys, to finish this up, I just like to say, continue embracing your life and always see life as an adventure.